At the baby shower, my daughter-in-law tossed my hand-knitted blanket in the bin. We only use designer things here. I fished it out and took it home without arguing. That night, my son called, voice breaking. Mom, what was folded inside that blanket? My husband passed 8 months before that shower. Pancreatic cancer, 4 months from diagnosis to gone. He spent his last clear weeks doing 2 things. Telling me he wasn't scared, which I mostly believed, and dictating a letter to a grandchild who hadn't been born yet, which I entirely believed. He made me write it down longhand, read it back to him twice, then told me exactly what to do with it. Sew it into whatever gift you make, he said. Make her find it. Don't just hand it over. Make it mean something. So I knitted. I have rheumatoid arthritis in both hands, and I knitted for 4 months anyway, because what else was I going to do with all those quiet evenings? Cream-colored wool, soft as I could find. I tucked the letter inside a hidden pocket along the bottom seam and stitched it shut. Wrapped the whole thing in plain paper and drove to the shower. She was my son's wife of 3 years. I want to be fair to her. She wasn't cruel to me most of the time. She just looked at me the way people look at something that doesn't quite fit the room. She'd built a very specific life, curated down to the font on the birth announcements, and I was the kind of woman who showed up in sensible shoes carrying a homemade gift. I knew what I was walking into. I went anyway, because the blanket wasn't really for her. She opened it in front of everyone, held it up by 2 corners, the way you'd check something for stains, made a little face, said it clashed with the nursery aesthetic that they had a whole vision for the space. Her friend was filming. The room did that laugh. Not cruel exactly, just the laugh of people following whoever seems most confident. And she dropped it in the trash can at the end of the gift table like it was wrapping paper she was tidying up. We only use designer things here. My son was standing against the wall with a drink he wasn't drinking. I watched him go pale. I watched him open his mouth. I watched him close it. He laughed a little. The nervous kind. To keep the peace kind. He didn't say a word. I walked to the trash can, reached in, and took the blanket back. Folded it into my bag. Told her it was all right. It wasn't really her style anyway. Said my goodbyes and left. I didn't cry until I was in the car with the door shut. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I'd go home, put the blanket on my dresser, and figure out later how to get my husband's letter to a baby who hadn't arrived yet without making it a whole thing. I'm not a woman who needs to make things a whole thing. Then his aunt called my son. She'd been at the shower. She'd known what was inside the blanket. I'd mentioned it to her the week before, the way you talk about something you're excited about. She called him that night, shaken, and told him what she knew. That's when he called me. He said, "Mom," and then nothing for a second. Just that one word, and his whole voice was wrong. Mom. What did she throw away? I told him everything. Not just the letter. His father had tucked in something else too. Something I hadn't even mentioned to the aunt. Every birthday card he'd written to that baby since the week we found out she was pregnant. He'd started immediately. 1 every month, sometimes 2 when he was feeling talkative. The doctors had said 4 to 6 months, and he'd sat with that number and decided to write his way past it. 12 cards total. Never sent. Always meant to go inside something I'd make. A little time capsule. A voice from before. All of them signed the same way. Love, Grandpa, whoever you turn out to be. My son didn't say anything for a long time. Long enough that I checked the phone to make sure the call hadn't dropped. Then, I was standing right there. I watched it happen, and I laughed with them. Yeah, I said. You did. I wasn't angry at him. Or maybe I was, a little, the way you're angry at someone you love for doing the thing you always feared they'd do. He'd spent 3 years getting quieter inside that marriage. Smaller, more careful. The laugh at the shower was just the most visible version of something that had been going on for a long time. But here's what I kept coming back to. The blanket was on my kitchen table. The letter was safe. The cards were safe. Not one of them lost. My husband's voice was still in that pocket, stitched shut, waiting. She never opened it. Just looked at the outside and decided. She held it in her hands and didn't once think to look further. All she saw was imperfect stitching, cream wool, no logo, and she made her decision in about 4 seconds. She threw away 12 letters from a dead man to a child he never met, and she didn't even know.